Hello YouTubers. All water heaters eventually fail, and it was our turn last week when my wife told me there wasn't any hot water for a shower. I found our GE Powervent water heater, which was manufactured by Rheem, was locked out. Not being familiar with these systems, I saw the green vacation mode LED was on and wondered why the water heater put itself in vacation mode. That was an obvious mistake I've seen some other YouTubers make as well, but some of them didn't correct themselves. I quickly figured out that when there's a problem, the controller provides an error code, so you need to look at the light pattern across all 6 LEDs and reference the LED status description table affixed to the side of the water heater. So I started my own crash course in Rheem Powervent water heaters. First question, how is the sequence normally supposed to operate? I found the answer through hours of trial and error, messing around with the water heater and learning what it does and what it's doing when it locks out. It wasn't until later that I discovered the sequence of operations in the user manual. Let's take a look at that. Oh, by the way, I actually did find the 100% for sure malfunctioning component that caused my problem, and I fixed it. The problem I found will be revealed as I walk you through the troubleshooting steps I performed to identify the problem. Stay tuned. Okay, here I'm just reading the sequence of operation, page 26 of the manual. During initial startup or a call for heat, the control will verify the vacuum switch is open. Once the control verifies the blower vacuum switch is open, the control will energize the blower motor for the pre-purge sequence, approximately 5 seconds. The control will verify the blower vacuum switch has closed, ensuring that the blower is functioning properly and that the venting system is not blocked. The control will then proceed through a sequence of self-diagnosis before initiating a trial for ignition. During the trial for ignition, the hot surface igniter will warm up. That's when you see it glow. Once the hot surface igniter warms up, the main gas valve will open, allowing gas to flow to the main burner. Once the main burner ignites, the control will verify that the burner flame is present through the flame sense circuit. The hot surface igniter will then turn off. The main burner will remain lit throughout the heat cycle until the water temperature setting is reached. Once the water temperature setting is reached, the control will close the main gas valve, which will extinguish the main burner flames. The blower motor will stay energized for an additional 30 seconds after the control verifies that the burner flame is extinguished in order to clear combustion gases from the water heater. After the post-purge sequence, the control will de-energize the blower motor and go into a standby mode, awaiting the next call for heat. This water heater is equipped with a flammable vapor sensor that is monitored continuously by the electronic control in all modes of operation. In the event that flammable vapors are detected, the control will automatically shut down the water heater and prevent the water heater from being started again. The following is a list of materials that will cause the flammable vapor sensor to shut down the water heater. Vapors of gasoline, vapors of certain flammable paints, stains, and thinners, vapors of vent pipe cement and solvents, bleach, that's direct contact with flammable vapor sensor, some other flammable materials and their vapors. If the flammable vapor sensor shuts down the water heater, then the electronic control will display the appropriate error code, and you should then promptly contact a qualified service technician. I just want to do a quick walkthrough on the sequence here on how this water heater operates. The on-off switch is here. This turns the power on and off to the controller. Right now it's unplugged, so nothing's going to happen. The controller is mounted on the front of the gas valve down here. When you turn that switch on, you'll see all the LEDs across the controller turn on, and they stay on for only 1 or 2 seconds and then turn off. If the temperature in the tank is below the temperature set point, the next thing that happens is the inducer will turn on. If the temperature in the tank is above the set point, it won't turn on because it's not calling for more heat. When the inducer turns on, you'll hear the fan running. It's very obvious. And the controller begins looking for 2 things. It's looking for the vacuum pressure switch to turn on, and it's looking for the temperature sensor at the back of the fan here. It's right down here. There's a temperature sensor at the intake of this blower. So the air intake can't be too hot. If it is, everything shuts down. If the air pressure sensor, or actually vacuum pressure sensor, ever turns off, the gas valve shuts down. If it doesn't turn on, the gas valve won't open. If the temperature sensor up here, well, it's on, it's normally on. The signal's normally on, but if it heats up, it opens. So there's a switch there that opens up. If it gets too hot up here at the back of the blower, this is the inducer fan. It's a centrifugal fan, pulls air from the middle in the back and blows it out your exhaust. So those two things are critical, and it's very easy to test that it's working. And I think I will walk you through some of that in my troubleshooting video. Okay, at the point when the inducer is blowing enough air because the vacuum sensor switch says so, and the temperature is okay up there, then the igniter down below, and you can see it. You have to remove this metal cover from the side of the bottom, but you can see there's a little glass viewing window here, and you'll see the igniter glow if it's good. If it's not glowing, it's never going to ignite the gas, and that's your problem. But it'll glow for, I don't know, 10 seconds maybe 15, something like that. And then the gas valve will open, and that's this solenoid valve that pulls the gas valve open. And at that point, you'll have ignition. The igniter will stop glowing after the flame lights. If the flame doesn't light, the gas valve closes. The inducer keeps running. It clears the system of any gas that might be accumulated in there. It's a safety feature. It blows it out the exhaust, and it blows for probably a couple minutes, and then it tries to ignite again. And if it doesn't ignite, it clears it out again. And if it tries to ignite again, so it goes through 3 retries. Actually, I think 2 retries. The first try counts. 2 retries, maybe 3, I could be wrong. And then you get that lockout, like I had, where I had the first LED lit and the A and the B LED lit. And then it's done. It stops retrying, and the only way to get it to start again is to cycle the power. So you turn it off. If the flame successfully lights, there's a flame sensor down there that tells the controller that we have flame and all systems are go. It just keeps burning and heating water until the thermostat says I'm hot enough, and it shuts it off. If that flame sensor is maybe if it's bad or if it has some oxidation built up on it, you can clean it off with a Scotch-Brite pad. And that's what I did. It made no difference for me, but that's how you clean it. I'll pull that burner out and show you what that looks like. With the problem I had, the unit would start up and burn. It would burn for 5 to 10 minutes and then the flame would quit. The flame sensor knew that the flame was gone, and the inducer, the exhaust inducer, kept running for a couple minutes to clear it out. Everything shut down, and then it tried twice at least to reignite, and it would fail both times and then lock out. I had to cycle the power, wait for that to cool, and go through the whole thing again. Until now, I've figured out, and I'll show you how I've confirmed for sure what the problem is. I have a concrete answer to show you in this case. Let's start to zero in on what the problem might be. The manual has this gas valve LED error code table we can refer to. My error code is LED 1, vacation mode, and LED A and LED B. So here it is, system lockout. They list 5 possibilities, but the whole time I'm going through this list, I'm skeptical anything here will be very helpful. Number 1, gas supply is off or too low to operate. That really doesn't make sense since this water heater's been running since 2010, and here it is 2021, and as far as I know, this is the first problem there's been with it. So I think we can just discount that right off the bat. That may turn out to be a mistake, but there's enough gas pressure to ignite the burner and have it burn continuously for 5 to 10 minutes without really flickering or faltering at all before it goes out. Then it restarts just fine again after the heater sits for a few minutes. It doesn't seem like a fuel supply problem, so I'm putting that one on the back burner for now. Number 2, hot surface igniter not positioned correctly. Well, this water heater's been running fine until this problem popped up all of a sudden. I doubt if the igniter actually changed position, but I'm going to take a look at it and make sure it's not damaged and that it's blowing properly and that the flame sensor is clean. What you can't see in this shot is that the power switch is turned off and the unit is unplugged from the outlet. Always do that before working on it. Okay, to remove this, I'm going to start by pulling these wire connectors. There's a little locking tab on them. First one, and I don't know if you can see that tab if this thing's focusing on it, but you just push on the tab and it releases the connector from the point that it's locked to. That's one. And here's the other. These two cables will only go in one way. The next thing I'm going to do is remove this burner supply tube from the outlet of the gas valve. And so there's a flare nut here. It is actually quite tight. But once you get it loose, it should just come right out like that. And there's a ground wire over here. I don't know if you can see it. It should just pull right off of there. It's just a push-on spade lug. This tube is flexible, as you can see. Just very carefully pull it down until it clears the bottom of the valve, and then you can move it over, kind of move it over to the side a bit. Again, you want to be very careful with that. Bend it firmly but gently. There's 4 screws that hold this cover plate in, and the burner is connected to the cover plate, so it all comes out as a unit. These are Torx screws, and it looks like it's a T20. Oh yeah, these are just push-on spade connectors on this gas sensor. This is the flammable vapor sensor, which is another thing that will prevent the water heater from starting. It won't allow the gas to turn on if there's a problem with it. Very carefully, this comes out. So there's the burner. Doesn't look too bad. There's the igniter, that's the straight piece, and the flame sensor is the one that has the dog leg in it. It's got the bend, kind of like a hockey stick. Then there's the seal around the flame chamber access plate to seal the burner chamber. They tell you to replace this seal whenever you remove this assembly. It's a safety component, so it's advisable to follow the manufacturer's recommendations. I used a Scotch-Brite pad to clean the flame sensor. I ran it over the igniter very gently. You don't want to break that. It's very brittle, actually. I found out the hard way when I was working on a gas dryer once. Those igniters are very brittle. If you just tap on it the wrong way, it'll break. Go ahead and clean the flame sensor with a Scotch-Brite pad. So being that the igniter appears to be in good condition, and I know it's glowing brightly when the system is in operation, and the flame sensor looks good and it's clean, and obviously nothing has changed alignment with the burner. The entire burner assembly looks to be in good condition. I think we can scratch that one off the list of possibilities. Okay, number 3. low voltage to water heater. So I have around 118 volts there, and that's hot to neutral. I have 118 volts hot to ground, and the box is also grounded, still reading 118 volts. My power's good. We'll scratch that one off. Number 4, electrical polarity incorrect. The polarity is correct. We'll scratch that one off. Number 5, combustion shutoff device tripped. I believe that's the ampule at the bottom of the water heater below the burner. I think if that were tripped, the water heater wouldn't run at all. So I'm going to scratch that one off the list. As I suspected from the get-go, this troubleshooting guide in the manual wasn't very helpful for diagnosing this problem on a previously operating water heater. So what's next? What could be causing the flame to drop out in mid-run? After 5 to 10 minutes of solid run time, the flame drops out. Then sometimes, even after cycling the power off and on, it fails to light. I've had to wait 5 minutes sometimes before the burner would ignite again. I've been wondering if it has something to do with a component that's warming up. It's time to start checking some other components.